Good evening. It is Wednesday, Wednesday, August 28th. This is Debbie Davis. Um, okay, so I did a quick video today because, so this is a very serious issue here. I had, so I had, I did a video a few videos ago. I was talking about, I was on the phone with the bank, and and I was trying to figure out why I hadn't got that deposit back way back from over the 4th of July. I had called and left a message for the front desk, and they never called me back. And then I tried to dispute it with the bank, and they tried to say that they sent me an email and I was supposed to upload more information. And I checked my email from the bank, and I never received any information, anything from the bank saying I needed to upload more documents. So whoever I spoke to on the phone, I don't even know if it was a real Navy Federal Credit Union person. Okay, but you know, they're trying to say, and then after I was on the phone with that guy, I got some kind of a threatening phone call from Navy Federal saying that something about and that I was rude or something to that person. And it doesn't matter that I had a fraud issue happen. All that matters, see, this is what the deep state does. They'll try to put the blame back on you, saying you're somehow a bad person just because you talked to the person who was frauding you, and you try to put them in their place. And then all of a sudden, they'll try to turn it back on you, like, oh boy, your language was very offensive. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but maybe you should do your job and investigate the real fraud, and then I wouldn't have to even call you and have any kind of, okay, so don't let these people scam you, because they're one of their things. I don't even think I talked to a real Navy Federal person, because the police have some kind of a stingray device going on around here, and they're bouncing my calls to other places that aren't, that are CIA instead of the real person I'm trying to call. They're using a stingray device. They can use stingray devices, and it can act like a cell phone tower to bounce somewhere else. But but I did want to say that I wouldn't normally talk like this, and I wouldn't normally, because I said to the police, I swore and I used the F word or whatever, but they have proven every day to me for so many years that they are so fraudulent. And I mean, they are the criminals. I mean, they just proved it once again yesterday to me. Okay, I'll explain that in a minute, but I do want to apologize if that language was offensive to anybody. I just used the F word, okay? But I will never. You have to understand, I was in the military for 15 years, and there's a lot of swearing that goes on in the military. So sometimes that still comes out with me when I get frustrated. But I will never. You'll never catch me using the Lord's name in vain. Okay, that's not something that's never going to happen. Every once in a while, a cuss word will slip out, but it's more like, something like that, but you'll never hear me like blaspheming God. Okay, that's something I'll never do. Okay, that kind of stuff is dangerous when you start using those swear words, because that's you're damning yourself. So you'll never hear anything like that with me. That it's just like, it's like out of frustration, sometimes I have cuss words come out. And so I do apologize if that's offensive to anybody, but and I've had people on my show that have sworn, and David Rodriguez on his show, he swears. I mean, it's just like, we're, that's the least, that should be the least of everybody's worries. I mean, we have such serious things happening that should be the least of anybody's worry. I mean, I had a hacking. Okay, so what happened is the guy did call me back from the Polynesian hotel, and he on Monday on Monday here, August 26th. Okay, we had a 10-minute phone call, and he looked up my. I'll let people see it. Put it right up there. Polynesian Hotel. Okay, we had a 10-minute phone call, and he, he said, "I'm sorry, it wasn't somehow for some reason it wasn't automatically returned," and he processed it. So he processed it back. On I got this on a. I talked to him on. So anyways, processed back like Friday, I think, and then so, I looked and it was processed back. That was when I logged in, it was processed back. The $100 was processed back, and that was from the Polynesian when I logged in, and then all of a sudden on Monday, somebody hacked into my account again and removed it. So we have a CIA hacking issue going on with the Navy Federal Credit Union. Okay, I personally believe it has to do with this Pegasus software as well, and I've talked about a software program called Promise, PROMIS. Both of these software programs are created by the Mossad. Okay, and they have the ability to Promise software was what has had a backdoor policy. They could I think they can get into any single bank account in the entire world. This is developed by the Mossad. This was developed by Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell. Okay, it's called Promise, PROMIS. So I don't know if it's Promise software or the CIA we're dealing with. The CIA is like in with the Mossad and everything, So they have these, and then there's this Pegasus software. It's called. So these were developed by the Mossad, but the CIA can work with these type of things too. So it's both agencies are able to do these type of things. So once I learned about this about this Stingray device that the police are using on me, it says that they can hack into your apps on the phone. So I removed my app for my credit union off my phone, so they couldn't, they couldn't spy on what my password was and get into my account that way. I removed that off my phone. They can apparently spy on, get into apps on the phone because they can attach this Stingray and this Pegasus software to the iOS stuff on the phone. I have an iPhone. So I tried to protect it, but I did that prior to Monday, and they still somehow got in there. So I don't know how they got in there, but how do I know this isn't going to happen again? And shame on the fraud department. What a joke! They called me. I was in somewhere and visiting a friend, and they called me. And they actually called me to scold me for the way that I talked to that when I was on the phone a few week ago when I was calling the Navy Federal Credit Union, and they said, we wanted to remind you of your behavior and I was like, excuse me, ma'am, what about the fraud? You're more worried about my behavior when your job is to investigate fraud. These people, something, but I don't even know what bank to go with, to be honest. Like, I don't trust. I've had issues with every bank. I've had U.S. Bank got in trouble here years ago for it was called a revolving credit, a revolving checking issues. What they were doing, like say today I wrote a check for $50. Okay, then a couple days later, maybe I wrote a check for $100. Okay, what they were doing is they were cashing the bigger check first, and so then that was causing the smaller checks to bounce. So they were purposely cashing the bigger ones first, causing the smaller ones to, when you have to like manage your checking account. I mean, yeah, so they were actually purposely causing people to get all these bounce check fees, and they ended up getting caught causing it, and they got fined for like millions of dollars, and that happened here to U.S. Bank. I've had so many issues with banks. They did that to me, and I caught them, and it's like pulling teeth trying to get your money back. And I mean, sometimes I didn't get all of it back. I mean, because they would never want to admit that that they made a mistake, because then you're accountable and you got to pay it back. So I mean, it's like pulling teeth. But so I don't even know what bank to go with, but I think the smaller banks are probably not going to make it through whatever we're going through here. This recession or whatever's about to hit us, is going to be bad. So probably just the bigger banks are going to survive. And so if you're with a smaller bank, I wouldn't even trust, I wouldn't trust the smaller banks, because I don't think they're going to survive through this big thing we have going on. I mean, pretty soon it's like, stores are closing, everything's, pretty soon we're going to have some kind of crash, I think. Things are already happening, clearly. But then I wanted to explain what happened yesterday, is that I went up to, I tried to go up to Camp Ripley, where the Maine State USPFO office is. It's the Maine State Finance Office here in Minnesota. It's the Maine USPFO. And so Camp Ripley, that's where I used to do my once a year annual training in Minnesota, Camp Ripley, just a little bit, couple hours north of the cities. Okay, so what happened is, years ago I went up to them because Arizona would not fix a pay issue that I had outstanding for years. The finance offices there in Phoenix would never fix it for me, even though I provided evidence. I mean, it was just the most corrupt the Arizona National Guard was the most corrupt I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it was like, I always had good leadership here when I was in the Minnesota Guard, and I just couldn't believe how night and day difference it was when I was in Arizona. I liked the weather there in Arizona. I mean, just the leadership was unbelievable. They were just abusive, and I mean, it was just horrible. The way that all of us were treated there at the different bases. So anyway, what happened was, when I first got in, got to Arizona, and I rejoined the Guard, like shortly after that, they ended up assigning me down at that border mission where we were building the first fence. It was just a metal fence about, I don't know, I can't remember how high, but I mean, at least it was something, and we were putting up a fence because there was no fence along the border. They were just surveilling it by drones, they said, and I mean, it was just like, this is just so crazy, our border. I mean, this is so crazy, but anyway, I was on that mission for a year and a half, total, and I was stationed out of Phoenix, my unit, and then they sent me down to Yuma, and but for some reason my unit had my home of record written down wrong. They put my home of record as Yuma, and I never lived in Yuma. I never had any kind of residence in Yuma, so I was like, I started talking to other people there on the mission, and they were getting like BAH, like housing pay, extra housing pay, and like per diem. They were getting per diem. Well, no, they were getting per diem, and I think I was getting BAH, but I wasn't. I was supposed to get per diem and travel pay, because they made us also go back to drills once a month too. And So even though I was on orders there, I still had to go all the way back to drills once a month. I mean, I don't know how they expected us to do this, and then we weren't getting paid for drills either. Because I was on totally separate orders down on that mission. I was like in processing, out processing. I was admin, and then about some of the time in processing and out processing people on that mission. Like a bunch of people were coming in from different states, and then I was also part of welding. I learned how to weld, arc, stick weld, and I did that for quite a while there too. And but anyway, so I can't. Other people were getting like travel pay back to their units, and I was like, I'm not getting travel pay, and I'm not getting per diem. I'm just getting my regular pay with, I think, the housing, and they were like, well, something's wrong, so something's wrong. Your pay isn't right. You're supposed to be getting all this extra money for travel and for per diem because you're not, you're on an out of town mission. Okay, and so I wasn't like super. I was trying to figure it out and trying to get my unit to correct it, and I couldn't get. I couldn't get anybody to correct it. So for years went by. Like the whole time I was in Arizona, I couldn't get anybody to correct it. Okay, so then I finally, when I moved back to Minnesota, I went up to, with my orders and all the paperwork that I could find, and I went up to that USPFO at Camp Ripley, and I had a finance pay master sergeant help me, and they said, yes, you are correct. This is an error. And they wrote up the paperwork, and they said, yes, this is an error. You should have been getting per diem and travel pay. And so we figured out like the mileage and also the per diem. And I mean, the whole thing added up to almost $15,000 because it was like $1,000 extra a month. I should have gotten for the per diem extra because that wasn't my home. I was on an out of town mission, and so you're supposed to get per diem, it's called. So I mean, it wasn't like a few $100s. It was thousands. So it's like 15,000 or something total with what we figured out the paperwork. Okay, so this went on, and okay, so he did the paperwork, and then he submitted it to DFAS, and then he was waiting, and then we're waiting like weeks for DFAS to respond to him. And then they said, well, since it's been over so many years, we're going to have to submit it to the Army Board of Corrections. Okay, so here it is. This is 2015, 2016, something like that. I submitted it to the Army Board of Corrections, and the Army Board of Corrections never responded to me and never processed my pay. And so I still to this day have never gotten paid that money. Okay, and I've tried. I tried to address this years ago, and I think Trump was actually trying to work on cleaning that up before he got out, and but you have to understand the deep state is like pulling teeth. These people are all about the money. The deep state wants to hoard all the money. So, I mean, I think Trump did the best that he could to clean up so many different things. I mean, I just don't think that he got to that part of it yet. That was like, I mean, the whole Army Board of Corrections, they all just need to be arrested. I mean, they didn't ever, I don't know of one person that got anything corrected there. They never got back to me. They never processed my pay issue. Okay, so still to this day, so that's why I was attempting to go back up there to Camp Ripley again to see if I could speak to another finance person to see, well, hey, what do you recommend that I do now? I mean, these people are clearly a joke there. And I don't know of one person that they actually, I don't know of one person. If somebody wants to, let me know if there was actually anything processed by them and that you were actually taken care of in some way by the Army Board of Corrections in Virginia. Maybe maybe you were a lucky one. I never heard of anybody that got anything corrected. So basically, it's a completely fraudulent department, and everybody there just needs to be arrested for treason, because they were nothing but a treasonous, made up office that was just there to hoard paperwork and not process it, pretending like they're doing their job. But it was just like, it was a scam. It was a scam. Okay, so the Army Board of Corrections completely scammed like thousands and thousands of military people, that got passed over by, with pay issues haven't been corrected. They were passed over by ranks. They didn't get promoted. And they have evidence that they should have been promoted, because you have your schooling that you do, and you have, it goes by points. And I mean, this happened to people right in Arizona, where they were passed over, and they have evidence that they should have gotten the promotion, but the other person did. So they submitted it to the Army Board of Corrections. Never heard anything. So that's what I was doing at the Camp Ribley there, as I was going to see if maybe I could talk to somebody again and tell them, hey, look, this is not like small change here. This is thousands of dollars that I've been owed for years. And as far as I'm concerned, I need interest on top of it. And your total negligence, that's what the IRS would want from us, right? We'd be charged all this interest on top of it. I have a legitimate pay issue and the paperwork to prove it. And you're frauding me. My government is frauding me out of it. Just flat out frauding me. And then I got the state police following me there, and then they go in, and I'm sure they were trying to, I ended up not even going in. I drove all the way up there, and I got so freaked out by seeing those state police go in there that I just decided not to even go in there. And that I just decided to try to look up some phone numbers instead to see if I can find a different way of contacting them, or email or something. And I didn't feel safe going in there, because the police have harassed me so badly that I have such PTSD from the police that I just won't go anywhere near them. I just won't. I saw like 3 of them go in there, and I was like, they're gonna probably try to say I'm some kind of criminal or something. This is what they do to the whistleblowers. I had, what happened with me and the state police is that I'd been talking to this guy, Vic, who is an ex-Mason, and I had been trying to talk to him about the Masons and different things like that, and I thought we were friends, and he said something about talked about some kind of CIA friend that he has of his, and anyway, I kind of caught him in some lies and saying that and then I kind of, some of the people I don't think he's fully trustworthy. Okay, and so I kind of started, basically, I said something, I said something about the police, all need to be, investigated. As far as I'm concerned, I don't trust any of them. I think the police are the criminals. And then he went off on me and said that I threatened him with bodily harm. And it's like, I didn't say anything like that, dude. I don't know where this is why it's so scary how you deal with the police, because they can turn it around on you and try to say that you threatened them with bodily harm. Like, all I said was like something like, I think the police need to be properly investigated. That's all I said. Oh my goodness, are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? I'm taking this as a threat against me and my family. And it's like, dude, I didn't say anything like that. But it's your word against the police. And in court, let's give that a try. Because the judges are on the police side. They're all Masons. So, it doesn't go so well over here. with the police and the judges. Just the whole thing is a catastrophe. So, but yeah, so Vic was an ex state police officer. So, after I had that little incident with him over the phone, where I kind of caught him in some lies and different things like that, and then he starts talking about how he has CIA friends, and it's like, I don't. All the CIA is deep state. So then that was like a real red flag, and I decided, I didn't want to talk to him anymore. And I said, I don't think I can trust any of the police, like including you, like, or something like that, or something, And I mean, and he totally went off on me, and he said it like he took that as some kind of threat. Okay, so then he starts texting me, and he's like, I think you're threatening me, that. And all of a sudden, I'm driving to church. I got this recorded. It was on one of my shorts. So that morning is when I had that incident with him, and he's ex-state police. And all of a sudden I have the state police following me to church. It was a Sunday morning. It was, I guess, 2 Sundays ago. Yeah, and that was right after I had that incident with this Vic guy who was an ex-Mason, and I didn't threaten him in any way. He was trying to turn it around on me. I didn't threaten him in any way. I said something like, well, I think the police themselves need to be investigated. I mean, that's pretty much all I said. Like, I mean, that was the extent of it. But he like totally turned it around and tried to say I threatened him with this and that. And then it's like, really? Oh, really? Where are you getting this information? Is this all in your mind? Where do you have some kind of evidence? Oh, and then he's trying to say that I'm gonna go after him with some group, and I said I'm a disabled veteran. I'm a female disabled veteran. Do you think I'm dangerous to you? I'm a disabled veteran myself. So I mean, with no criminal history at all. So I don't know what you're afraid of. Are you afraid of a blonde girl? I mean, this is, but yeah, he had me followed by the state police here. So I think that it might have been him involved in, once again, in having the state police there at Camp Ripley. I think it might have been this Vic guy again. And I consider this obstructing obstructing justice for me. I mean, this is just a flat out police harassment and obstruction issue. What they did to me yesterday. I had drove all the way up there 2 hours, and I was so freaked out. I saw like 3 of them go in there that I decided that I didn't even want to go in there and talk to them, and then I just try to maybe do it over the phone. They were really helpful when I went in there years ago. I mean, that's the main office you want to talk to if you have pay issues, and they're super knowledgeable, but they can't help it if DFAS isn't doing their job or whatever. I mean, it's just like, the way that we are treated as veterans, and I mean, I have to beg for my pay. Like, nobody will just process the pay after the paperwork's already done. And this guy at finance did it for me, approved it, wrote a letter, said there was an error. I mean, everything. And they just won't pay me. Nobody will pay me the money. I mean, this is just unbelievable what I'm having to go through. Like, and then, so speaking of the CIA, I don't know if people have seen this before, but there was this article. I don't remember when it came out, but apparently there's a big CIA, because I've talked about CERN before, and there's a secret CERN. There's a CIA entrance under CERN in Switzerland, subterranean. There's apparently a subterranean base for the CIA under CERN in Switzerland. Okay. And Alice and I have talked about this. How we believe that CERN is causing a lot of these directed energy weapons and these causing the the directed energy, the voice to skull or whatever, the different things for the certain people they're targeting. If this is one of their headquarters, it could be coming right from here. I would be, I think every army in the world should come after this place right here. This is probably where a lot of that's coming from. Switzerland is the head of the monster. The Switzerland is the head of the monster. That's where all the banking comes from, for the CIA. And so, I think that I think a lot of our problems for these targeted. I mean, they got these weapons they can use, these supercomputers, and target our brains and our bodies. I mean, this. I think every CIA headquarters needs to be. They've done. Needs to be investigated, or arrests happen, the whole bit. I mean, they have done so much damage throughout the whole world. They have killed millions of people with this technology. The CIA. I mean, they've killed. They can kill people with these weapons that are coming from the CIA. They're invisible weapons, okay, and they're killing people all over the world. So, I don't know. This is not just a United States problem. This is a global problem. We have, the CIA, MI6. I don't know if the MI6 is a part of this or not. But I know that the CIA is definitely a part of all the evil. They're like, I don't know if there's any good side of the CIA. I mean, I think it's all deep state Nazi stuff. So, I've never, I don't know. Maybe they made it sound cool. Maybe like way back in the 60s, 70s, this 007. Maybe they were actually doing some legitimate work. I have no idea. But nowadays, it's like all deep state. The CIA is fully deep state. So I believe. I don't know. I mean, but maybe there's some good people. I'm sure there is, like every agency. But then the problem is that once you're in, you can't just get out. It's like one of these agencies where you join for life, so it's not like you can just get out. So I feel sorry for those people who do maybe want to try to do the right thing, and I hope they do. I hope they do the right thing. And under the Trump administration, I know there was a lot of people flipping from the deep state. They didn't, they could see that their own agency wasn't even loyal to them. Like they're just a number. That's kind of how we started feeling in the military. We're just a number, and we didn't feel taken care of. And I'm sure that's how you feel. People in the CIA feel too. I mean, I'm not saying like every single person is deep state, but I mean, I would say I would probably, from what I've seen, I mean, it's a good percentage. Almost all of them are deep state. I don't have any idea how many people might want to get out if they want to. I don't know. There might be. There is always some people that do want to try to do the right thing. I mean, wouldn't you want to especially if you're getting older, wouldn't you want to try to make peace with your own soul? I would hope so. For some of the horrible things you did, and I would want to give somebody that opportunity to do so if they really wanted to. And I mean, there is one whistleblower that I heard a video of that did come forward from the CIA, and I don't remember if he gave his name, but I mean, he admitted that he had killed several people, including that guy who wrote Behold the Pale Horse. He killed him. He said, I'm the one who killed him, and I killed multiple people, but I was on mind control. And so, there is that guy. He probably just wanted to, he said he sees all these people making plans for their life, and acting like, and he said they have no idea what's planned for them. The government has these chemtrails going overhead, making us all sick on purpose, and that's from the CIA. All these people that he killed and that he knows now were just like whistleblowers and stuff. And I mean, he just wanted to try to make it, I guess, warn people, because for his own soul, make it right with his soul. So hopefully more people, like if he came forward, and hopefully more people will. And because then if one person does, and hopefully there'll be more. And I hope that more do come forward, because we need to know what the and I'm sure people will, if you try to come forward and you try to do the right thing. I would hope that there would be protection for you, and proper protection for you, and and that because I would want to make sure the whistleblowers were protected, because I know what it's like to be a whistleblower, clearly. So you would need protection for sure coming forward, but I would hope that more people would have the courage to do so. But anyway, so I wanted to just do this video tonight. This is really serious, what's going on with the banking. I'm very concerned because I have direct deposits from my VA money. I do get some money from the VA because I'm a disabled veteran. I was injured, when I was deployed, and I was injured in a car accident when I was on active duty, and a PTSD. I mean, I'm not as injured as some other veterans, are way more injured than I am, but I still have injuries, and I get the money for that. Thank God. And thank God I got out honorably. But, if they can hack into my account and just take that money out, I mean, who's to say they're not going to do that again? This is like a major security criminal violation. And whoever did this, needs to be criminally investigated by the bank. I don't know what bank to go with. I don't know what bank is safe. So I don't even know what to do. So anyway, all right, with that I'll say, all right, God bless.